The next thing that we have on schedule for today is called The End of the Beginning by evangelist Murillo. This was sent to me, and I don't know exactly the context of what's going on in it, but I do know that it was considered harmful by the person who sent it to me. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and see what is being said. This has been time-stamped to a part in question, so let's see.
2 days ago, a woman made a statement that I cannot begin to digest, absorb, or even imagine. She looked at presidential candidate Joe Biden, and she said this phrase, "My 8-year-old is transgender."
How are you not able to process that statement? Your 8-year-old does not identify with the gender that they were assigned at birth. How do you not process that? That's pretty easy to process. Oh, you are? Okay, well, in a couple of years, we'll go ahead and have the conversation about whether or not you're still that way. We'll go ahead and have a therapist talk to you. And if they deem that you actually are sticking with this, then we'll have a conversation about puberty blockers. And if that goes well, then you won't have to deal with all the shit that happens in puberty. And then when you become an adult, you can decide if you would like to go ahead and get on hormone therapy, if that's a thing you want to do. If not, then cool. You're not going to go through any surgeries as a child. You're not going to go on hormones as a child. None of that stuff's going to happen to you as a child, but knowing this early and you being open and honest with me about this early means that we'll actually be able to figure out what we're doing better for you going forward. That's not very hard to digest. That's not super hard to figure out. I guess the content warning for transphobia is here again. Look at his
What
confusion.
parent says that about their child?
Well, actually, it's not about what the parent says about their child. Let's have that conversation real quick. This was fun. So, the parent is not saying that about the child. Likely, the child has said that about themselves. And the parent, being a good fucking parent, has decided that their child, in being open and honest with them about who they are, the identity they are shaping into, the person they are becoming, is allowing that child to explore that. That's not harmful. That is actually the opposite of harmful. That is one of the things that allows us to have not quite as bad suicide statistics for trans people. But, you know.
What has happened to our brains that our child can make a statement to us? Imagine those...
Wait. What has happened to our brains that our child can make a statement to us? I know he's saying that the statement, like, in particular, that particular kind of statement. But here's what happens. Let's have the conversation 10, 20 years ago, right? Have the conversation about a child who is figuring out that they're gay. Child goes, "Mom, I don't like guys." "Well, no. You'll like them. Don't worry. Give it some time." No. Mom, you don't. No, I don't like guys. I think I actually like girls. Okay, yeah, but when you hit puberty, then you'll know what you like. No, Mom, I seriously don't. I don't like guys, Mom. I think I might like girls. And then 5 years later, as puberty's hitting, the same conversation happens. "Mom, I don't like guys. I think I like girls. Specifically, my friend Rachel. I think I like girls. It's just a phase. You'll get over it." 5 more years passed. This person's an adult. "Mom, I still don't like guys." It's a really long phase. You know what? You just haven't found the right guy. That happens. And then, 4 years later, the invitation to the marriage ceremony is happening. This person is well into adulthood. Parent opens up the letter hey, your child, Cindy, and her best friend, Rachel, are getting married. So you sit down and have the conversation with them. How long have you guys been together? Well, technically since they were teenagers. You just didn't accept it. You couldn't have accepted it. It was just a phase, and none of it was important. You undermined that child the whole time. That's the same thing happening here. And I believe as people become more accepting of the fact that not everybody is wired the same way that their biology attempts to dictate, you will start to see more of this. And that's not a bad thing. Because some of those children who grow up may find that actually that was a phase. But them being able to explore it as a child is what allowed them to figure that out. And some of them may find that actually it's not a phase. They just are trans. And being able to get on blockers and stuff early prevents their body from going through puberty. And so instead of having a second puberty on hormones, they can just go on hormones and experience puberty that way, the way that is correlated with their identity, the way that is a lot more healthy for them. You're going to see more of that, but there's nothing wrong with allowing them to explore that. If your son wants to wear a dress one day, who the fuck cares? Let them. They may find that they're more comfortable that way, and it may be that one day you're talking to your daughter, not your son. It may end up that they find out that they don't like it because they had an opportunity to wear it that you allowed them to. But they never actually get that chance if you don't let them, if you're constantly keeping them under your thumb. But you know.
Those of us in a certain age group walking up to our mama and saying, "Mama, I'm your son, but I think I'm a girl." How many of you know that child would be reminded? Somebody help me right now. When the swelling went down on their rear end.
Excuse me? Excuse me? So, remember when I said having the opportunity? If, like in the example that I gave before, the child was never given the opportunity, or was reminded that if they ever even tried to have the opportunity to explore who they actually are, they'd be beat. You would engage. You love your child so much that you would engage in physical violence with them for them being honest with you about how they felt. Yeah, this is going back to the time to live forever, Billy, moment when we went over BGR. The spare not the rod so they will not die, that type of shit. Except I don't want to joke about it because in this case, with BGR, I'm so thoroughly numb that I can make fun of his shit. This is a new person to me. I'm not numb to him yet. If you are the type of parent who, if your child came up to you and said that they might be trans or might be gay, and your response is to beat them, don't call it spanking. No. You're engaging in beating them. He's literally talking about making sure that they are swollen. Physical violence. If that is your response when they have done nothing wrong, they are simply being honest with you, you are an abuser. You are an abusive parent. That is what you are. Accept it. And if you do not like other people imposing an identity onto you with which you do not identify, then holy shit, maybe it might be time to engage in some empathy classes, because that's the same shit that the child that you live with, that you beat, is trying to get through your thick skull. You don't want to be called an abuser. Don't be an abuser. That's pretty simple here. You don't like people calling you that? Your child doesn't like being called something that's not their name, not their gender, not any of that. They don't know that. And they don't even know why it's wrong. And guess what? If you're beating your child because they said they're trans, neither do you. But you think you do. I wish I had provided an adequate content warning here. I'll have to do it in the title of the video. And a thing was pointed out in the live chat that I agree with from Mika. Beating your kid won't stop them from being trans. It will just stop them from being honest with you. Just as most studies have shown with spanking. Spanking your child does not make them a better child. It just makes them better at hiding the things they were doing that made you spank them in the first place. Getting spanked did not improve my grades. It just made me better at making excuses. It just made me better at planning how lazy I was with my syllabus. Getting spanked did not make me better at following curfew. Being spanked just made me better at hiding that I wasn't following curfew. Corporal punishment as a child just makes you more creative in the ways in which you will undermine your parent. It doesn't actually make you a better kid. Oh, but to the parent, it makes them seem better because that's the fucking point. And he has people
entertain a child in such a way, to me, is such a height of child abuse.
That's the height of child abuse? That. My guy, the height of child abuse is beating your child for being honest with them. That's the actual height of child abuse. The height of child abuse is not accepting that they might not be the person you named them as. The height of child abuse is beating your child for being honest with you about their identity. That is the height of child abuse. And anybody who engages in that does not deserve to be a parent.
Let's call it for what it is. That's child abuse.
And people are clapping in there. No. Had I been somebody in this congregation, which, granted, I'm not Christian, so of course, me being in this congregation, probably not going to be a thing that ever happens. But if I were, I would have a war going on in my mind. The war of, do I sit down knowing that I am in a field of people who will hate me for what I want to do, or would I stand up and choose to either exit the area as a visual show of not liking what I'm hearing, or walking up onto the podium and taking the stage from him. Turning this into a dialect. Turning this into a dialectic. I don't know which one I would do. I'm a pompous asshole. I want to believe I would go up on the stage and be a dick to this person. Or at least sit down and have the conversation with them. Provide them with data. Show them that spanking does not actually accomplish what you want it to accomplish. And also the data we have on things like puberty blockers. But nobody knows what they would do until they're in that situation. And I don't know. I don't know. I know sitting here doing the video, I'm upset. I would like to have a moment to speak with this individual. If I can speak to somebody like Call for an Uprising, I can probably speak to this dipshit.
Look, here's what you do.
Was he going to demonstrate this?
Hey, brother, that's the truth right there. Okay. Sometimes you have to lead by example.
What did he even do?
Has anyone in this room ever met an 8-year-old? And here's what Biden said. I would change the law so that 8-year-old could get hormone injections.
Is that what he said? Is that an actual thing that he said? If somebody can please send me a link or something. I don't think that's what he said. So let's see here. Claim. Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden said that if an 8-year-old child wants to transgender to make life easier, they have a right to transition. There's a reason for you to deny it. False. Social media users are altering comments made by Biden during an October 15th town hall meeting to falsely suggest that he supports sex-changing medical procedures for young children. Biden said that transgender children should not experience discrimination, but he did not say that they should have a right to transition. Social media users are distorting Biden's response to a question about a transgender child at town hall. Okay, so even this is bullshit. So not only is he lying about this stuff, but the lie's not even good. It's easily fact-checkable. I don't think I'm going to cover any more of this particular video, but I think the point is there. If you're a preacher advocating for child abuse and you're a parent engaging in child abuse, maybe just don't. If you're thinking about having a child and you think you would beat your child if they were honest with you about being trans, probably a good idea. Probably a good idea not to have a fucking child. Just saying. And maybe don't lie about easily fact-checkable things. Maybe that too. Probably a good idea. Probably that.